Good morning, coders. Hello. Let's bring that up a wee bit. Sorry for being a bit late. I was making a bit of some tea, and today we're going to be starting the first sort of, work on Elasticsearch, and just sort of laying the foundations, I suppose. And in fact, we're not really going to be doing a lot of Elasticsearch today. We're just going to be changing the code to make it a little bit more usable for Elasticsearch. So last night I was trying to get Elasticsearch running in Docker containers, and it was crying. So I didn't manage that. So today I'm going to switch focus from actually building the infrastructure to looking and examining the current code and seeing what needs to be altered for it to allow Elasticsearch documents to be indexed. So I also had a look at this. This is a FOSS Elastica. I have used this in client projects before. Very good, very good. But I think it might be a little bit too heavy-handed for what we need. The thing that I was most interested in is how to. So they use a serializer to serialize. Let me see if I can find the example. Bear with me a minute whilst I try and. No, that's configuration. Is it in here maybe? No, oh, it's somewhere in here. I can't remember where, but it tells you how to serialize your entities. So yeah, here we go. So you've got a class of username, and you can use annotations to give them assign them to a specific group and all of this stuff. There was some more documentation somewhere. I was playing with it. Nope. Okay, so there's somewhere in here. I don't know what I was looking at last night. It was it wasn't that. Custom index properties. Meh. Okay. Anyway, this is really handy. This FOSS Elastica bundle for using this in Symfony to sort of integrate into Elasticsearch for querying and indexing and other things. And that's gonna annoy me now. Where was it? It was manual providers, clustering, attachments, populate events, pre-transform. Is it custom repositories? No, there was this section where it had like indexes, and then you could list out the properties of an entity. Essentially, that's what I really want to get to today. If we hints on result hydration, clustering, manual providers, custom index properties. Meh. Okay. Well, we could just spend the whole stream just going through this and trying to find that. But essentially what it boils down to is something similar to this, where you have your handles, I suppose you would call them, and then your values. Because Elasticsearch, everything is done in associative arrays. So you would have, this is the value, this is the associative index, and then this is the value. So this would be your say, you would be pushing up a document, and in that document you would have a body, and in that body you would have a title, and that would be the value. Now this is the core schema. This is the schema for the JSON APIs. And I was having a quick think this morning as to how we can use some of this code for Elasticsearch. Because when it boils down to these get attributes, it is extremely similar. Because essentially, if I was to, let's just get rid of that for a minute, this would be kind of like the body of the Elasticsearch document. So you'll need a title, a duration, content, publish date, as I mentioned before, and other bits and pieces too. And there's like in here there is a schema for every entity that gets returned by the JSON API. So, for instance, let's give you another example. The profile schema, for instance, has well, that's not a good idea. Let's do tutorial schema. There we go. So this here has a get attributes. So one could argue, why don't I just use the get attributes? Because essentially what I'm trying to achieve is, if I was to do Elasticsearch, PHP, index, document, essentially this is what I'm trying to achieve. If I can find it in the documentation, yeah. So you would have the body, and there's obviously a higher level. So there is the index and the ID. So this would be the ID of the entity. This would be the index that I want to put the document inside. And then this would be the body of the document. And this here is the associative array that is essentially very similar to this. Now, the problem with associative arrays is that if anybody's seen the previous streams that I've done, my spelling is atrocious. Okay, so if I was to copy this and put this in another class, I would essentially be copying all of these things, and I would be that would be open to human error. Of course, I could refactor all of this, so this becomes a single source of truth that both the JSON API and the Elasticsearch objects, or however the classes are going to be architected, would kind of filter down into the get attributes and then pull this all out. But the thing is, there are certain attributes in here that I don't want to be in Elasticsearch, and vice versa. There are certain attributes in Elasticsearch that I wouldn't want in the JSON return, because the JSON return is obviously what gets returned to the front end, whereas Elasticsearch. So there's a very different sort of set of requirements. However, they both feed into a very similar sort of structure. I guess that's kind of the right way of saying it. Hey, Eco JR, what do you mean WP? Do you mean WordPress? This is not WordPress one. No. This is Symfony. This is the API that is behind the howtocodewell.net website. This API is something that we've been creating for a while. If I just quickly showed you howtocodewell.net, this is a Gatsby front end site, and all the data here, so all the courses, their tutorials, everything that's been pulled through by an API. And what I would like to do eventually in the future is have a way of searching for all of this, which means putting all of this into Elasticsearch. So this is kind of like the first sort of level of structuring that. So I think what I'm going to do today is I'm going to create some constants. Create a class full of constants that represent these I call them values and I call them indexes. That's not strictly true. These are associative keys. So it's just going to be a class where we have sort of a class for each one of these, I guess, or a single class, that probably would be wise, where we would have just a bunch of constants that have these, which means that then I can use that constant in both the Elasticsearch and in the JSON API, because I think consistency is crucial with these keys. And I don't want to say like content in Elasticsearch and then description in the JSON API, because that's going to get really complicated and confusing, and I would have to write mapping and translations and all of that other malarkey. So, excuse me. So I think what I'm going to do is, let's create a folder in, I don't know, let's create a folder called Constants. I know, how boring. So essentially, these are, well, directory already exists, does it? Have I already done this? Oh, I've done mailer. So yeah, this is a good example. Here we go. This is a good example of mailer, of constants for the mailer. So you would have a welcome mailer and a forgotten password mailer. It's just basically internal codes. Now, I guess what I should do is just ensure the testing is okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to jump into the container, and we're going to, jump into the, or evaluate the shell, I should say, and we're going to do make test, unit test. We won't worry about the coverage at the moment. We'll just run those. Expected to find class. Okay, I need to. That was what we were playing with yesterday, weren't we? Let me, or the other, whatever day it was. This was my example of how I might be putting things into the indexer. I kind of want to keep it, but I don't. I think, I tell you what, let's, I will put this in my own internal notes, I think. Yeah, okay, good. I'll get rid of it. There we go. And then we'll run those. I probably need to do an update, actually. Come on, unit tests. Why are you waiting? Why are you taking so long? There we go. Okay, so these will test the current schemas. So the reason why I'm doing this is to get some stable ground to work on. So when I go and change one of these into a constant, I know that I've done it correctly. Okay, let's just close all of this. Let's create a new constant here. Let's do course. Let's work on the courses first, right? So course constant. Very similar to this. I really should change that to be constant too, but we'll worry about that another time. So this was going to be course constant, and then I suppose the easiest thing to do is to bring out the course here, which is course schema, and let's split this vertically so we can see what we're doing. There we go. Let's see now. Okay, so this, ideally I want to have an internal code. So like, for instance, this would be title, and then that would just be title, and then this here would be course course constant title. There we go. Essentially, this is basically what I want to do in today's stream, is to go through each one of these and create constants, and then this means that I have a constants file that I can then use when I index Elasticsearch. And they'll be shared across, you know, the JSON API and others. So let's get rid of that. This is subtitle, and surprise, surprise, so is this, and this here is subtitle. And then this is duration. This is, unfortunately, this is how it's going to be today. It's going to be a little bit, if you were hoping for anything a little bit more exciting than this, unfortunately, this is all I'm going to do in this hour. Duration. So we then have duration here. But if anybody's got any questions, of course, do let me know. or any suggestions. This also allows me, this is also decoupling the, decoupling the, have I spelled that wrong? A constant with the same name, or, oh yeah. This is me decoupling the keys from the course schema and creating a central repository of keys. Essentially like a bunch of internal codes. That's essentially what it is, really. Yeah. Slug. And then we've got thumbnail. Oops, what's wrong? What's going on there? Duplicate key in array. No, that's okay. Slug. External. Don't know why PHP Storm thinks there's a duplication here. Navigate to duplicate key. Oh, is it because there's... Oh, I see. That should be slug. See, this is why we need testing. This is why we need the testing. What I'll do after this, of course, once I've done all of this, we'll run the unit tests again. So what's this one? This is the external. And just make sure that I haven't damaged it. Thumbnail. Yeah, I mean, the jury's out whether that's code or code download or, you know, what it's going to be in the future. But essentially, I mean, I'm sure in the future I'm going to change some of these, but I only want to change them in one place, you see. So this will allow me to change the values and not the actual constant name. It's also going to be easier for me to identify in the IDE where these things are, because I would just search for this string. Course, constant code download, and then this one here is going to be published date. Now there's going to be a lot of these that are very similar across the schemas. So for instance, publish date. There's one. So we might break this off into another set of constants specifically for dates. I mean, that sounds wise, doesn't it? So publish date, and in fact, I think this should be the other way around. Date published. Let's keep all the dates together. So that would be published date here. And this one then would be date updated. So even there I've made a decision as to how these should be named. Date updated. Even though it's updated date, because that's what the front end needs, it doesn't sound right in the back end. So date updated, and then this one here is the creation date. So this would be date created. Yeah, creation date. So let's do date, course constant, date created. Okay, so now they're in. I'm going to quickly run those unit tests once more. see if I've broken anything. And then I suppose what I should do is run the API tests. Although I think I'm going to need to update various things. We can do that, that's fine. I just want to make sure the unit tests will pass. Fingers crossed. I mean, this is doing all of them. I mean, why not? They're unit tests, they're quick. So, there we go. Okay, that's cool. Let's now, I'm going to probably need to jump into the, well, I can do vendor, what do I need to do? Make vendor, vendor install. Let's try it. Okay, so yeah, there was some change. Let me just double check something a minute. Where are we on this? We're on branch features search 1, and if I was to have a look at my composer, let's get rid of this for a second. Do we all have? Yeah, Symfony 5. Symfony 5. Okay. So, we were just updating from 7 to from 6 to 7. That's fine. Okay. So it might seem like a big hit, but actually, I did an update on my laptop and I haven't pulled it through. That's all. That's all. So we'll get this through. Do the recipes. Hopefully it can clear the cache okay. And then what I would really like to do is test the API just to make sure I haven't screwed anything up. And the APIs for the course, where are we? Say this one, for instance. They should all be grouped by course index. So I should be able to just run course API. Sorry, group by course API. So I should just be able to run course API, and it should, in theory, run all of the course, all of the APIs that relate to the course, he says, hoping. These things take an enormous amount of time. Don't know why. There wasn't actually that much. I mean, it was just bump change from 6 to 7 for the most part. Come on. Why is it taking so long? Anyway, whilst that decides to clear the cache, one of the next things we could do is another one of these schemas. So for instance, we've just done the course. Let's start from the top and work down. So we've got a category here. Now notice that there's two things, updated date and created date. These are exactly the same as what we've had before. So this gives us the opportunity to put those constants in another file called date constants and then use those. Okay, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly run test. Well, I need to get into the container, unfortunately. So let's do that. Bash, whoopsie. And whilst we're in here, we need to do a bin code set run API -g, and it's the course. I've got an example here, course API. There we go. Let's run the course API. Now, fingers crossed, this is all good. This will take a wee bit of time because these are going to drop and rebuild the database for each one because it's obviously touching the database. That's good. We've got the first green. Okay, so we'll wait for we'll let this roll off, and we'll hack on the category schema for a bit whilst that goes through. Yep. See what I mean by they do take some time. Hello, Code. Thank you for following Space of Souls. That's very kind of you. Hope you're having a good Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning here in the UK. Wow, you've sent off the emotes, and look at those. Those emotes have nice little, I want to call them elf hats. Is that right? Am I seeing elf hats? I am seeing elf hats. That's weird. 1:31 a.m. in the States. Well, thank you for spending time to follow the stream. Very kind of you. But make sure you get some rest and chill out. Okay, so here we got the core category schema. Let's move that into here. Call this category constants. And we have name, I think. Let's just bring this up onto, split that one vertically, and there we go. So we have name, which is here. We have slug as well, which we've got, and we've got the updated and created date. So we don't need this, nor do we need these, but we do need to have, let's just get rid of that so I can actually see what I'm doing. We do need the updated date, we do need the created date, but we don't need the published date. We do need the slug, and we do need the name, which is name, not title. I mean, this exercise is actually highlighting to me some inconsistencies with my conventions. I've called one name, I've called one title. You know, what's the deal there? Maybe they should all be consistent. Let's just go back and have a look at this. I really want to wait until all of these run before I start moving around the dates. But we can certainly update this lot. So this would be category constant name. This would be category constant slug. This would be category constant updated date updated, and then this would be category constant created date. Come on tests. I'm kind of the opinion that if something was to break, I would have known about it by now, but anywho. So I would like to move the date updated and the created date somewhere else, and potentially the slug, because they are very similar to the course. And then maybe put in a little bug that I need to deal with later on about the titles and the names. See if there's some way of adjusting those to be consistent across the board. What is that? That's the category. I mean, you could have a category title, you could have a category name. Does it really matter? Same with course name and course title. They kind of mean the same thing, really. It's when you get to say a title of a person that's different, because that has a different meaning. So like the user would have a name and a user would have a title. But when it comes to categories and courses, they're kind of interchangeable, which kind of means that it's open for me to refactor and change that. But I know that if I was to change category to title, or course to title, especially if I was to change course to name, that would probably blow a hole in a lot of things. So handle that with care. How many of these? 32. So we did what? 331 unit tests and 32 API tests. Here we go. 32, all done. Fine. Phew. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move the dates into date constants. So we're going to move. Have I literally just copied that over? Yeah, I have. So we're gonna get rid of these two, and it's just gonna be date an updated date, as well as the other one that was for the wherever it was. Where did that go? The course one. Do I not have it open? No. Let's just grab all of these. That's all. That's what I need, and put them in the dates. Now, if I ran the tests now, they would all fail. So yeah, can you see that they're all missing here? So let's do date constant, and there we go. Excellent stuff. And the same with this lot. Whoops, what's going on? Date constant. Why is this not? Oh, I need to import it, of course. Haha. There we go. And if we went back into, so we got that. Date constants are okay, and category constants. Let's get rid of these two. Excellent. Let's just run the tests. Let's run the unit tests this time. I could have done it from inside the Docker container, of course, but whatevs. Whatevs. But now this means that I have a nice little place for dates, just dates, nothing else. And sort of pedaling back to Elasticsearch, these will become this here, the parts. These will become the keys of our associative array that I want to index. So that they become our sort of internal names that I can use for both the JSON API as well as the Elasticsearch. And the beauty with this stuff is that if I wanted to, I could create like a class Elasticsearch constants, right? And I could say public constant. Let's do prefix is equal to, let's say, ES. I could, if I wanted to, if this was in another class, I could say that this would be this would have that prefix. And the same with the API. If I really wanted to split them out but still keep them consistent, I could do that. Excuse me. Okay, so we've got the dates, and we've got the courses, and we've got the categories. Let's move on to how did those tests go. That's all good. Let's move on to, say, the code. Code just has a file name, so that's straightforward enough. So it's just it's file name, isn't it? Which is in here. Code constants, and this would be file name. In context, that's fine. There's nothing in there. The registration. Again, this can be changed to be the date, time. Of course, if I was to change one of these to something that we've already sort of defined, and there was a bug that's found, then it would highlight that there's a current inconsistency. So this would be date, time, date constraint, and this would be what? The created date? Yeah. And then this is active. So I think I need to have another constant up here called active constant, because there's going to be or let's call this status constant. Actually, let's give it a little bit more context, a bit more meaning. There we go. Now, you know, you might be thinking I'm littering my whole structure here with little constants that do, that just have keys and values. But I think this is going to help me out in the long term, because I basically now have a little repository of a sort of a centralized source of truth of these things. Let me quickly run the tests again. Let's make sure that I haven't screwed anything up. Okay, and then we can go on to the course view. Again, this is going to have the date created, date constant. This is what date updated, and then this is creation date. Date constants created, and then this is view count. So, I mean, one could argue that this should really go in the course. Why not? Why not? These aren't coupled to the schemas. These are coupled to the context, such as the course. So public constant, let's do view count. If I can spell it. An example of why I need these constants, because my spelling is atrocious and I only want to write these things down once. So in here, this would be in course, course constants, and this would be view count. There we go. How are we getting on with those tests? Good. Let's keep running them. Just, keep rolling that through. The quicker the feedback, the better. Okay, so this one is message. I guess this kind of needs its own, it warrants its own sort of placeholder. Or its own class, I should say. Whoops, can't spell constant. I think it was just message. Let's have a look. Generic message. Message. Yeah, that's fine. Message constant. Message. There we go. Next one, image. We have the file name here. Now that's interesting. So we have a file name in the code. And we have a file name in the image. So if we were to abstract this up further, this would actually be a binary, really. Binary code, binary image. It's a binary object. Or you could say it's a file. Yeah, let's do that. It's probably more explicit, isn't it, than file. So where's that going? Rename. That's probably better, isn't it? File. Yep. File name, and then down in which one was the thing I broke? This one. File constant. Okay, so it kind of knows. That was the IDE that's done that, which is nice. And the image here, we would have file constant file name. Position, that's fine. It's just something else. Shouldn't really be in this schemas folder, to be honest. But profile, we would create another profile. Actually, let's create a user. Let's create a user constant. So in profile, we have Patron unsubscribed. So let's grab that for a second. Into here, go into there. That is Patreon, and we have subscribed. And I think if I can get all of this done, I'm then going to run all the tests, all of them, every single one of them. and just to have a complete sweep to make sure that I haven't messed anything up. Because all we've done at the moment is ran unit tests and API tests. We haven't ran all the other bits and pieces. Where was this? Profile, wasn't it? Profile. So this was user Patron. And this was user subscribed. Okay. Resource, what have we got in here? Again, we've got URL, we've got the image path. That's see, that's different now. See, now this is highlighting areas of the naming conventions that really need to be sort of consistent. This is image path, whereas the other one was file name. Meh. Let's change that. We know we can change this. This is date time constant. That is the updated date, and then this one here is the created date. Let's quickly run those tests again. Okay, so the name here, this is resource. Let's create a resource thing. That's better. And this is going to be name, which is name. And what was the other ones? We had URL and image path. Okay, fine. URL. Okay. So down in here, we would have name here. So that would be resource. Constant name, we would have resource constant URL, and we would have resource constant image path. Excellent. Let's have a look. They're all good. Let's keep running them. Just keep running them. There's also these types. I'm not going to deal with them yet, but they're these types here that need to be put in as well. This one here is subscription plan. So let's put that in. This is name. A lot of these, you can see that there are some duplications across the board. So we might look at this and create a generic constant that just has generic things that are shared across the board, like names and other things. Okay, so this would be subscription plan constant name. Tag schema has the dates and the slugs. Again, that would probably go in a generic thing too. Let's do date constant. This is updated date. This is created date. Whoops. In fact, I think, let's just keep running them. I think what I'm going to do is put these in a generic place. Let's just call this generic. And in generic, we're going to have name and slug. Look, they're already there. Let's do find in path, name. and we can see the various names. That's file name. Here we go. Generic name, obviously. Resource has name. Let's get rid of those. Subscription plan. Let's get rid of that for a second. That's fine. That's good. That's good. That's removed. Generic is good. Constants here. Generic. That's where we're at. File name. Publish date. Publish date. Category. Here we go. Get rid of those. Okay. Right. So we now have a generic. And there was a resource, wasn't it? Do we not have URL? We have slug. Ah, great. Okay, I'm gonna put that in there as well. Yeah, let's just put it in. Generic. Where are we, generic? What am I doing? URL. So that's generic constant. This is the name. Generic constant slug. Slug. Okay, let's go through, just double check each one. That's fine. That's okay. Yep. Obviously the tests will pick up anything that's wrong. Looks good though. Aha. That's not going to work, is it? And tag, obviously. Excellent. Now tutorial. We have tutorial title, duration. So we're going to need a specific one for this. And in fact, we need to have a specific one for each one because we want to eventually get and work on those types. So tutorial constant. Now there is an argument to say, why don't you just put all the constants in one constants file? You know, wouldn't it just make your life easier? And I suppose, I don't know, maybe. I'm gonna split this out, I think. Let's load that up and go into split view. Just to speed up things, because there's quite a chunk in here. There's title, there's content. I suppose by having them in one file, you do. Yeah, I suppose if they were in one file, it would make things a little bit easier because you wouldn't be worried about duplication and you wouldn't have to worry about splitting it out into generic stuff. Maybe I should do that. Yeah. Okay, before we go any further, let's do that. Otherwise I'm gonna waste some time. So, let's just call these. Let's create a new file and call this, Schema Constants. I don't really want to call it that, but let's do it. I can always change this. And then basically in here, I mean, there's no need for that anymore, is there? So that goes. There's no need for all of this can go into here, into our schema constant, which I'm going to put into vertical mode. And I've just got rid of PHP Storm. Wonderful. Marvelous. I have literally just pressed Control W on PHP Storm. Let me load that back up. Yeah, so we're going to combine all of these, I think. I think that's probably the best thing. I did want to keep them separate just to give them their own identity, but I think maybe that's abstracting it too. That's not abstracting it enough. I think it's fair to put them all in one pot. Okay, so let's say, for example, let's load this up and create schema constants. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to do is load schema constants on this side. If I can move it, can I move it? No. Split that one vertically. There we go. And we'll work our way through. So course constants, we'll put that in. And we will delete. How? Come on, delete. All right, date constants. File constants. I think having it in one, it makes it a little bit more manageable as well. You know, I'm not having to import lots of things from various places. Generic constants. So this will tell me whether there is constants that are already defined, if I was to put them in. So slug, for instance, has that gone in once? Yes, it has. So there's no need for that. There we go. Let's get rid of that. Message constants. Resource. I know if I was to run the tests now, it would just blow a hole in everything. So we'll sort everything out and then I'll run them. Schema constants is where I'm at. Active, I think we've got that already. Yeah, we have that. Let's move that down. One. I just want to break these up so I can visually see the separation that I've done. Eventually, obviously, I'll get rid of that. I think because it will become meaningless. Schema constants, that's where we're at. So there's no subscription plan constant, so let's get rid of that because that's just an empty file. Tutorial, do we have title? I think we do. Yep. And do we have content? I don't think we do. So let's put, was that the one I was just about to do? I think that was. So that should be content rather than, oh, no, we already have content. Okay, that's cool. So that can go. That was another duplicate. So let's get rid of this one. I'm still going to separate the mailer and the schema though. Okay, and then this one is here. Now I suppose what I could do is prefix these. So these would be like course, tutorial, but because there's lots of things that are mixed, I don't think that's a good idea. Let's not do that. Yeah, that was just a stupid idea that popped into my head. Okay, good. I think we're there. So now I need to change all of these things. Let's just get rid of, let's just close all these, and then let's go through each one of these and fix them. So, schema constants, there we go. I'm going to press Control or Command Control L just to tidy up the imports. Bear with me a second whilst I remember the command. Did that work? No. No. What is that command? Shift. Hang on. Bear with me a second. No. I can't remember the shortcut key. It's refactor. It's reformat code and optimize imports. Have they split this out? I think they have. That should be. No, that's opening that up. Nope. Oh, I can do it manually. I'm sure on my laptop it's something like Command Shift L or something like that. Anywho, right. So this is now Schema. And this here is Schema. Get rid of those two, and let's get rid of these as well because they aren't required. Let's do a little bit of tidying up whilst we're here. Make sure leave the code better than it was when we started. That's always a good thing to do. There we go. There we go. There we go. Course view, of course. Yep, import that through. Okay, generic message. Yeah, Image schema. I do want to deal with these types at some point. Because essentially they are internal, like an internal code. Okay, I think we're nearly there. We've got a few more to do. Subscription plan, which I think is quite light on its feet. Oops. If I was to run make static analysis, which is doing PHP stan, I should do that actually. It'll tell me if I've buggered anything up, so we'll do that as well as the testing. In fact, I'll just run make tests. That'll do the whole suite. Okay, so yeah, it was tutorial. This is where we were at. So. We would need free URL, premium URL duration. Okay, let's quickly bash that in. So let's load this up. Split that vertically, go into, we're at tutorial. So we already have this. So we've got Schema Constants title. We already have content. Schema Constants content. We don't have free video URL yet, so let's put that in. Why am I shouting? Public const free video URL is equal to you. Okay, what else do we have? We've got the same thing, but for premium. and I think we've got duration. I think that covers it. So let's wrap these up. So we've got schema in here. I've totally forgotten what that was. Video URL, free video URL, schema, free video URL, and then we've got this one here, premium, and we've got, this has been a fairly relaxed, chilled out stream, which is nice. This is duration. Display order, that's something what we need to have, don't we? Display order. Ba, ba, ba. And then we have our schema. What was this? Updated date. There we go. Date updated. And date created on this one. Wonderful. Okay. Oh, of course, there is the user schema as well. Okay, we can do that. So let's just quickly get this in. We've got lots of time. It's fine. It's just I know how long these tests will take to run. So that's why I'm speeding up a bit. Subscription plan and profile. Subscription plan. I think, apart from not being able to spell that, let's just copy it. There we go. Right. Okay, so, oh, an email. Do I? Oh, no, I've got email. Sorry. And we've got active. We should be good. So this is username, this is email, this is active, which I think we have already, yep, and then this is subscription plan. And this is profile. I think we've done it. Woo! Profile, yeah. Okay, I'm going to run the unit test first, just because there is something here. I'm going to run the unit test first, just to make sure that, you know, we've covered everything. And then after that, I'm going to run make tests, which is going to do PHP stan, PHP MD, mess detection. It's going to use code sniffer for linting. Then it's going to run all the tests. Well, before that, it does database changes and all sorts of other bits and pieces. Okay, so they're all good. Let's now do make tests. So this is going to run the whole suite. So PHP CBF. This is beautifier. It's already found one that is fixed automatically. That's nice. Let's run it again. So it will stop whenever there's an error like this. Yuck, my tea has now gone cold. So now it's doing PHP stan. It should be doing it on the highest level, which I believe is it 7 or 8? Let's have a look. I'm curious. Stan Neon, that's what I'm looking for. PHP stan Neon. It is running off of level 8. Yes. Okay, that's all good. So now it's doing a validation of the schema, of doctrine schema, I should say. Which is good. That's all good stuff. It's saying that everything is in sync. It's now clearing the cache. I'm glad Stan is happy. Now I've done this, of course, we can now move on, you know, in the next stream probably, we can now move on to working on actually getting the entities translated and indexed. Oh, we've got some errors here. We've got some acceptance test errors. Oh dear. Okay. We will have to have a look at those. This is the acceptance test for the CMS. I guess what I could do is take a look at the logging. So eval, and we could go back into go into the API, which is not here. Is it? It's in here. And do make a critical log, make log critical, and of course it's that's not gonna show, is it? Let's go into the container and then do a docker tail -f var log devlog. Right, where are we at? So we've got some, obviously this is gonna, let's just not tail it, let's not follow it, let's just do a tail. Stop it. Of course some of these are gonna be false positives because these tests test for exceptions which are thrown. Uncaught PHP exception. No route found for so this is checking for a route that doesn't exist, so that's fine. That's like that's an okay error. Okay, let's do more of I'll tell you what I could do. Let's just kill this and then let's do a tail. And just watch these things go through. And we don't need to do this. We can go into bash, make test. Sorry, we don't have a make file here. Bin code set run, and which was the suite that failed? It was acceptance. So we're tailing on this side. Well, that's worrying. None of the errors are coming in. Well, anyway, we should see can't connect to Web Driver. Please make sure. Oh, it's Selenium. God. Okay, fine. Exit. Docker ps-a. Is Selenium up? No, it's not. Docker compose. Up -d, and we'll do a build. What's the time? 8:16. We might have some time for this. Who knows? Do I have Selenium? Obviously not. I'm downloading it. Okay, fine. I should have done this at the start. I apologize. I should have done this at the start. I hate it when you find an error and the error has nothing to do with what you've just worked on, and it's something that you've forgotten to do before you started work on the thing that you were supposed to be working on. In my case, I was trying to run acceptance tests and I didn't have Selenium running or built. So we'll wait for this to come through. This is the Selenium Web Driver. It's the Chrome release, pre-release. Because the acceptance tests on the API, they run, and I know this is going far, far away from what we were trying to do today, but it's just the way things go, isn't it? So there's these Selenium scenarios. Sorry, these Cucumber scenarios are what we were trying to test with, trying to do. And again, I have closed PHP Storm down. Ugh. I'm having one of those mornings. This is why I prefer to do things in the terminal and not just in PHP Storm. Like, I know that there's a terminal in PHP Storm, but I'm a klutz, so, as you can tell. Here's me trying to stream live code at the same time as pull down Selenium Docker image. No wonder it's slow. Come on, 8:18. I finished these streams at 8:30, so that's why I'm chomping at the bit to get this done. Come on. It's the only layer left to download. Everything's complete, apparently. Look at that. Super fast broadband speed. It's lightning, isn't it? I'm so pleased. 20 megs to go. Oh no, it's tell a lie. It's downloading this as well. Come on. Right, now we're all waiting for you. Yeah. I was also playing with, the other night, PHP 8 Docker image. There's some things in there that I need to change and address because Peckle isn't used anymore. So we use Pickle instead. So there's a little bit of alteration in the Docker image that I need to do. But anyway, the packages in this API stroke CMS are not updated yet for PHP 8. They require 7 plus, so not 8. Which is another reason why I don't want to use Elastica. Is it Elastica? The Symfony bundle from FOSS user. Elastica. This one here. I don't want to use this because A, I think it's too large for what I need, but also B, that's another dependency that I'm going to have to be relying on to make the switch to PHP 8. And so the less of those, the better. Okay, come on. I say that now, but maybe in a year's time I'll switch to Elastica. I don't know if things get a little bit too hairy. We'll see. Okay, so they're now all up. So if I did Docker PS, do we have Selenium? We do have Selenium. That's great. Awesome. So let's now do a make tests once more. Tests with an S, not a tests with a... There we go. I always get this group manager issue, and it's because PHP Stan needs to do a clean. Not PHP Stan, Codeception needs to do a clean. It's very weird. I think it might be because I'm jumping in and out of the container and something isn't quite like synced across the file systems. I think that's my theory. So this should all fly through. It's the the acceptance test that was failing. So, but it's always good to flush this out. So we'll wait for all of these things to do their thing. Come on. Why is it taking so long? There we go. There we go. So that's me doing a Codecept clean, you see. Which oh no, we've still got these errors. Well, based on time, I'm gonna have to probably look at these off stream. Damn. That's annoying. Come on. Give me a green tick. Give me a green tick. Thank you. That's so annoying. They've all failed, and it's probably a configuration issue. But anyway, none of this has anything to do with what we've done today. All of this is the content management system, the CMS, and actually doing a crawl across the CMS, logging in, clicking buttons, that kind of stuff. So it has absolutely no relevance whatsoever to the API or the code that we were working on today. So there's that. Which kind of makes me feel like this is an issue with configuration rather than what we've done today, because what we've done today shouldn't affect this. Yeah, it's just a shame I can't get anything in the logs. I'm gonna have to see if there's any way of outputting things to the logs. I bet I could see this in the access logs, actually. Let's see. Well, it really depends on where it's failed, because if it's been able to make the access, let's just have a quick look. I mean, this looks fine. This looks okay. They're all like 200 OKs. This here is, this is then the API. And if we had a look at the gateway, the only one that's down is the node, which is fine. I mean, it would be fairly up in the top, I suppose. But this is based on whether or not the access was actually made, and it doesn't look like it has. So my guess is that there's still some configuration with that. I tell you what, let's just see what that is. Let's go into, I'm confident if I was to do make test unit, these should all pass. The acceptance tests look like they were going through okay. It would be nice to clean up those acceptance tests. So let's see, let's do a bash, and then let's go into, of course I've rebuilt the container, so there's no history. So bin console run code set run, and the thing that was failing was the acceptance test suite. It's frustrating that we don't get an error output on these tests until the very end. So when you're doing multiple suites, you don't get an error. Here, you get an error once all the suites are done, which is why I've had to kill the tests and then run this specific suite. And now I can see that the error is cannot connect to Web Driver. Please make sure that your Selenium is running. So there's something going on here. Oops. It's 192.168. Is that the right IP address? Probably isn't. That's probably why. Let's have a look at Docker machine. IP. And I totally can't remember what this. Let's do a start. That's the name of the machine. So if we did Docker machine IP, the IP is a totally different IP, so that's probably why. The IP is totally different. Let's see, where is that in the code? That's obviously somewhere. Probably in the suite here. There we go. So if I was to change this now, somehow I'm going to have to make this dynamic, I think, or have the IP address static, or something along the lines. Maybe some sort of DNS magicry. I don't know. But let's just quickly run the acceptance test. So we go into bash here, and then we run this. We're gonna have to do that clean command. Code set clean. Yep. Now run the acceptance tests with that changed IP address, and we should hopefully, fingers crossed, unless there's another issue. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. It's 8:30. I really need to go. I just want a green tick. I just want a green tick. That's all. Just one green tick. And then I can go and get my breakfast. Yes! Okay. I'm going to say that change has worked. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run make tests now. The whole thing, the whole suite. Just to make sure. Clean it all out. And in the meantime, I'm going to grab my breakfast and then carry on with my rest of my day. As a freelancer, as a contractor, I've got lots of stuff to do today around Elasticsearch, surprise, surprise, which is quite fun. But anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. I'll let this run through and hopefully it'll all pass. There's about 400 odd tests to sort of walk through, 400 or 500 tests, something like that. So it will take some time. But I think this is all good. And then the next, say, set of streams will be the slow integration of Elasticsearch. We've got still a fair amount of refactoring to do on the code before we can even consider putting indexing documents. But, it's just the way it goes. But anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. Happy coding, everybody. Have a great day. Stay safe. Stay well. Take care. Bye-bye.